unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time. Boy, oh boy, was there ever drama at the beach today. That's right, gangs, death, heroism, crazy coincidences, looking for clues, mystery, everything at the beach today. I just got back from there. Let me tell you about it. Want to hear about it? Want to hear about the drama at the beach? Well, fast forward, I'm a hero. It's true. You're looking at a hero. Well, you're listening to a hero. Regular everyday beach. Let Dum-Dum off the leash. Cruises down the beach. Runs really fast towards the water. Just enjoying her freedom and her ability to sprint. But right when we get to the water's edge, because I like to go to the hard sand. Why? Because I'm out of shape. And it's easier to walk on the hard sand than it is in the soft sand. Walking on soft sand is bullshit. You may as well walk on quicksand. It's not easy. Sand wasn't meant for speed walking. So we get down to the water's edge and we start walking down the beach. Only about 20 yards down the beach, somebody goes, "Merkley! Is that Merkley?" I look at this person, kind of a short Filipino lady, and I recognize her. I think I know you. And I didn't know her from the days back in the days when I actually was social and I would go out. I can't remember her name, and I didn't remember it today, so I just said, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Fancy meeting you here." I see her and her little tiny feet, and they've got no shoes on. And I make sure to talk about other stuff, so she doesn't know I don't remember her name. And I said, "Fancy meeting you here." And she says, "Yeah, I'm a bit of a recluse these days. I'm a bit of a shut-in, laying low. But I just come out to the beach sometimes." And I said, "Well, that's what I do too. What do you know?" I lay low, avoid people, but then almost daily when I'm around, I go out to the beach for my nice walk. I don't take my shoes off, though. Anyway, I kept the conversation short. Looked down again at her tiny little feet, and she had her toenails painted bright green. I liked that. Then as she's leaving, I notice her shoes are bright green also. I like that. That's a detail I like. So I told her, "Don't lose your shoes." "Ha ha, I won't," she said, and cruised along. And then I kept walking down the beach, and I noticed her little tiny feet footprints. Really cute. I mean, they're tiny little feet. They're like, got their feet about the size of a 12-year-old, you know? And I just am walking down the beach, and I'm just kind of watching her, going over her footsteps, which is kind of a weird, fun little thing, right? I just said hi to somebody, and then you just notice their footsteps, and I was just tracing them down the beach. And then about, 30, 40, 50 yards down the beach, I see a little smudge in the sand, what did I discover? Little piece of archaeology, little piece of anthropology, little piece of history. I found the place where she took off her shoes. Ha! That's some serious anthropology there. I get a good grade for that. That's college work. Sherlock Holmes stuff. What if I had asked her, "Hey, when did you take off your shoes?" And she told me, "Oh, shit, an hour ago." I would have been like, at that point I would have thought, so it took you an hour to walk 30 yards. You're either a slow walker or you're a liar. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a little detective. It's fun to retrace somebody's steps. That's what you're doing. It's a colloquial, Ku Klux Klan, colloquialism. God, I hate that word. You sound like you're drunk no matter what. Colloquialism. Say that. colloquialism. It's an idiom. It's a saying. I don't know why I'm trying to use $10 words when a $1 word suffices. It's a saying. It's a figure of speech. Retracing steps. And I did, and I figured out where she took off her shoes. Fun, right? So, on down the beach, I notice, and I noticed this before I even noticed her, there's a lot of activity, a lot of bird activity. When we first got out of the van, I'm backing up now. Dum Dum went straight for chasing seagulls and crows, and there were a lot, and they were a little bit slower than usual because they were eating, right? And the birds, the seagulls versus the crows, lots of activities, like the sharks versus the jets, scrambling around the beach, intermingling one with another more than usual, I see one running off with a crab, and I think, that's what they're arguing over. They're arguing over that big, juicy crab. They all want a leg. Give me one of those. Give me one of those legs. Look down the beach, and lo and behold, about 10, 20 yards later, in front of me, about 10, 15 yards, I see quite a large animal, not being pulled back into the ocean like usual. Sometimes you'll see, like an object, a piece of some seaweed, and, off in the distance it might look like an animal, and it's just kind of being tossed with the waves. But this one was an animal going back by its own force into the ocean. Pretty big one too, and I thought, well, what could that be? That looks bigger than a crab. But it probably was a crab because it wasn't running like a mammal, it wasn't flipping or flopping like a fish. It's a crab, probably a crab, right? Get down past the point where I saw that to see if I could see it again. I'm staring out in the water, but now the sun's in my eyes because it's directly west. Not a good vantage point. It's better to look at it from the north, from the south. But I'm looking directly out, trying to see if I can see whatever animal it was. Couldn't see it. No big deal. Back onto my walk. Meanwhile, Dum Dum's chasing the fuck out of these birds because they're hanging around more. They're letting her get close. They're letting her get closer than usual, especially the crows, because these crows I think they kind of like it, They wait till the last second before they jump up, and then they squawk at Dum Dum to taunt her, to be like, they're like, ha, fuck you. You didn't get me. Nice try, dog. Probably yelling at each other, too, like, ha, cool, that dog sucks. But Dum Dum's falling for the bait, so she keeps going around. But then, walk another 20 yards. Ooh, what do we see there? There's a seagull that has a big, fat, brand new crab right at the water's edge, kind of still in the water. Dum Dum runs towards that seagull. The seagull tries to lift the crab, and fly off with it, but it makes the mistake of flying out further into the ocean, and what does it do? It drops the big juicy crab. And so that seagull plus all the other seagulls are like totally bummed because they had this fresh big old crab that Dum Dum, and they're all still staying local. They're staying close because they're going, fuck, we can't let this, keep an eye on it, Henry. Don't let it go. Where is it? I don't know, I can't see it. Why'd you let go of it, you idiot? You should have flown to the sand, not the water. I don't know, dude. Why do I have to carry it? Why are you blaming me? I'm the one that fucking caught it. Yeah, well, you're the one that lost it too, you idiot. Meanwhile, Dum Dum's still bothering him. Like, fucking dog, I can't go down there now. I can't get it. That dog's bothering me. So that crab seemed to be washed out to sea, and Dum Dum comes back and looks at me. I'm going, well, that was kind of rude. It's not like you were going to eat that crab, Dum Dum. But you just fucked up this great meal for those guys. She didn't care. She thought it was cool. And it was kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of fun to see that kind of drama, Bummed out seagulls, bummed out crows, because the crows were... It seems to me that what happens is the seagulls catch the shit, and they take it off into a little spot. And then while even the seagulls are fighting for the crab, the other crows come around, and I think they seem to be more opportunists. I think they incite a little bit of, they like, dude, that other seagull talks shit about you, he doesn't like you. And they get them fighting between themselves, and then the crows come in and seize upon the melee, the confusion, and they go in there and they get scraps and sometimes steal a crab too. Smart little dudes. Gangs, though. These guys, it seems like the seagulls are on the seagull team and the crows are on the crow team. I didn't see any evidence that they ever split up and worked together. There was no West Side Story thing happening here. The crows stayed the crows, seagulls stayed the seagulls, as far as I could tell. But anyway, so that's two crabs so far. Two crabs. I'm thinking, well, that's interesting, because usually I see these hollowed out crabs quite a bit, where they're already hollowed. But these are two, like, dead crabs. I didn't know because I wasn't close, but I saw that live crab running into the ocean. Then these guys squabbling over what I assume was a fairly live crab. Keep walking about 50 yards down, and I think I seeing crabs along the beach, like in the water. I'd see them about 10 yards, and then by the time I get up there, they wouldn't be there anymore. I thought, these guys are looking at me. And I remember when I was in Brazil, these crabs would be way up on the beach, in the sand, and they'd run into a hole, and they would perfectly time they'd be looking at you sideways, right? Or facing you straight on, but they run sideways as to not have to turn their head because they don't have necks. These little crabs, they don't have necks. It's part of what makes their design pretty stupid. Good thing they can run sideways, though, right? So these guys, we would try to beat them to their hole because we don't know where their hole was, but they were so good at timing it. Like, they didn't want, if you stopped, they would stop. They're like, I'm not going to run back to my hole if you're going to leave me alone, because I'd rather be cruising over here. But if you're running towards them, they know how, they can judge your distance from you to their hole, So you'd run, and you'd have to, if you wanted to catch them, we would catch them and cook them on the beach. A fun thing I'd do in Brazil. But you'd have to run towards them, and you'd have to kick them away from their hole in order to catch them. Because if you didn't do that kick, you would arrive at their hole at the exact same time as they would, and they would disappear into it. And that would piss you, that would be like, what the fuck, I barely missed you, barely. So it'd be a real race. So I'm thinking, these crabs don't seem to be doing that because they're actually in the water. There are land crabs, and then there are crabs that live under the water, right? I don't know. I'm not a marine biologist, although I may be now. I may have an honorary degree after what happened further on in the story. So I think I've seen this a couple times, right? But I don't know. I can't tell. But then I finally get down to the beach about 50 yards, to my ending point. There's a point on the beach where the greenery ends, and it turns back into city blocks where you can see them, and I think that's where I'm going to turn around. I like to walk on the part of Ocean Beach where you can't see houses, Seems more natural. So I walk that stretch, and then when I get to the point where you see houses again, that's where I turn around. But right at the end, what do I see? Very clearly, I see a big, fat, 7-inch, I'm talking about the body, not the legs, but the body, about 7 inches across, crab on its back, right? And the seagull's walking towards it. And I'm about the same distance away from it as the seagull. So the seagull speeds up and I speed up. Seagull speeds up and I speed up. And I'm playing a game of chicken with the seagull. Well, I won. That seagull wasn't fucking with me. It didn't get to it in time to be able to pick it up. It's too big to lift anyway. The seagull would never have been able to lift this big fat crab off. So I'm thinking, well, look at this big dead crab. You don't usually see them completely intact like that and upside down. So I think, I wonder if he's alive. So I go down and poke him. Yep, he's alive. Moves a little slowly, but he's upside down. So I tip him over. But while I'm tipping him over, his little eyeballs are looking at my hands, and his little pincher guys are trying to move towards my hands. He's like, fuck you, don't touch me. I'm like, wait, dude, I'm turning you over, all right? I'm literally turning you over. I doubt you wanted to be on your back. So I'm looking at this guy, and I'm thinking, That would make a pretty good meal. He's big. He's a big enough crab. He's the kind you'd order at a restaurant in Chinatown. Decent looking meal, but he's all slow. I turn him over and he doesn't run off. And I'm thinking, well, if this is a water crab and he's on land, this is like his version of drowning, right? He's like, oh shit, I can't breathe. I'm looking at him. He's moving around. He's responding to my movements. If I move my finger this way, his pinchers go that way. He's looking at me. He's like, don't fucking touch me. Don't fucking touch me. I will pinch you. I will pinch you. Left, right, I'm like, well, you're kind of far away from the water. There are a bunch of seagulls here. I don't know what your state of mind is. I don't know if you're drinking. I don't know if you've been doing drugs. I don't know why you're up here on the beach. I don't know if you were just wandering around, playing, some extreme sport where you say, hey, guys, watch how fast, watch how close I can get to the beach. I don't know. Meanwhile, I see surfers, they're out there playing in the water. I don't know what crabs do. I don't know if they play. Seems like it would be kind of a fun game to see how long, if you could go, how we go into the water. Maybe crabs that breathe water come out of the water for thrills. I don't know. Then they run back in. Maybe that's what I've been watching as I'm going up and down the beach. Maybe I'm watching crabs doing their version of surfing. It's the opposite. They go up on land, right? And then they run back into the ocean. Big fun, Maybe this guy's drowning. Maybe he went too far. Maybe he thought, oh shit, now I can't get back, because he was pretty far up there. I check him out, though. I'm doing Mr. Dr. Merkley. I'm poking him around, checking his reflex, making sure he's okay. I even filmed him with my camera, and if this was a visual podcast, I would show you. But I'm looking at his little face, and you know how they have those weird mouths that open from side to side, those little hatch doors? And he's kind of bubbling, his breathing type. I don't know where they breathe from, but I'm assuming it's kind of the mouth area. But he's got bubbles coming out, like as if he's breathing, I'm thinking, well, this isn't good. Let me get him into the water. So I, figure out, it's hard to grab them because their little pinchers can go up over their head. Well, their body, which is their head. Their head, again, they don't have necks, as you know. But there's only a little part of the place in the back where you can grab them and where your hand is safe from all their little pinchers, So you have to grab them. I grab him by that little place to make sure he couldn't grab my fingers. I take him and I throw him into the water, in the shallow water, right? And I think, who knows if I'm doing a service? I don't know. He might just be sick. Maybe it's his time to die. I don't know. How do I know? Neither do you. Maybe you do. I don't know. But so he rolls around the water a little bit, but then I see him get stuck on his back again, in the sand. But I go up and his reflexes are a little quicker. And I'm thinking, all right, well, if I was drowning and somebody saved me, they're not going to give me mouth to mouth under the ocean in the water, right? And I'm not going to get better if I've stayed in the ocean. So I said, well, let's just keep him in the water. I'll throw him out a little bit more, And I watch him, kind of monitor him. He gets tossed around. And he keeps sort of getting stuck in the sand. But each time but he's not getting stuck on his back any longer. He's just a little bit more responsive each time. But maybe just stand. And then a couple times he's literally looking out to the sunset. And I'm thinking, maybe these crabs come onto the beach to look at the sunset. And then they go back in. I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I don't know about crabs. But, so you know how do you ever go to the beach? You know, sometimes if you put something in, if you just stand in a certain place and you let the waves come up on your feet and go back and forth, you kind of sink into the sand gradually, right? So I'm watching this happening. The sand, when the wave comes in, it stirs up all the sand, is really soft, and then it goes out and the sand all settles around. So he's starting to get buried in the sand, right? And I'm thinking, this guy, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I'm thinking, this is idiotic. If somebody were to watch this, I'd look like one of those hippies trying to save a crab. And it's not that I have anything, because I definitely was considering him for dinner too. But the only problem with that is he wasn't dead. I wasn't going to bonk him. I didn't have anything to carry him in. I'm not going to put a live crab in my pocket. Okay? I'm not stupid. So, and I could have just fed him to a seagull, but hey, I wanted to see. I wanted to know. I got this story going in my head that he accidentally ended up on the beach. Could happen, right? Loses his way around, follows another guy, gets swept in a current. It happens to people all the time. You can see signs at Ocean Beach. People have died here. Well, so have crabs. And maybe it's because of the same goddamn thing. So now I'm just curious. So this time I finally get him one more time. I give him a big old heave-ho, way out into the deep. And I just stand there and watch, while Dum Dum is chasing crows and seagulls, making friends with another dog that is her same color. And she does that, by the way, and it's kind of creepy. It is kind of creepy. When she sees dogs, she, for some reason, really makes friends with dogs that are her same ginger tone. Dum Dum might be a racist. I'm just saying. I've noticed she has a preference. Little red ginger dog comes by, doesn't matter what size they are. She seems to prefer them. Maybe she's a narcissist. I don't know. So anyway, big heave-ho. And I monitor the situation from a couple angles. And I realize that each time I throw him in, he ends up maybe 5 or 10 yards north because the current seems to sweep things north. So I monitor the whole situation and I think, is he going to come back? Is he just a goner? Is he not got any energy? I mean, I don't imagine crabs are swimmers. They seem to be crawlers. So at a certain point, if you get in that dramatic part of the current, it's just too hard. The current is so fast when you're close to the beach, and that's, I think, what fucks him up. So that's why I gave him the big heave-ho, because maybe then he can get into a calm part of the sea underneath the waves where he can actually walk and he can get back with his gang. His friends that are going, where the fuck did Scott go? I don't know, dude. He was going to go up there and then all of a sudden I haven't seen him. Well, I'm not going to wait for him. That's how crabs talk. So Scott the crab, I finally get him out there. I monitor the situation for probably 10 minutes, and I don't see him coming back. So I'm thinking, all right, he's gotten out of the danger part of the current that keeps pushing to the shore. The danger part for humans is when it pulls you out to sea, but the opposite is true for little crabs, I think, that live under the ocean. There's a danger part that pushes them onto sea, and they can't fight the current to get back. Because I don't know what. The undertow, it seems like the undertow would be good for them, but there's an overtow too, whatever you call that. The actual wave is called the overtow, according to me. But he's finally gone. And I'm thinking, all right, good. Good for you. Well, I'm not really thinking that. I'm thinking, Merkley, you're an idiot. You could have just taken that home and it would have been a nice meal. And the crab's probably going to die anyway. I don't know. I'm thinking he's probably got a disease. That's why he was upside down on the beach. Or maybe he was suicidal. I don't know. Anyway, something's fucked with him. Darwin didn't send me to save that crab. I don't think I'm part of the system that's supposed to save crabs. That's probably not in the bigger design of nature that a species is reliant upon Merkley to throw it back into the ocean to save the day, But who knows? I'm entitled to do that. I am part of nature, so fuck you. If you want to judge me, I don't give a shit. So I'm to the point, I told you I'm turning around. I'm going back. Now it's time to go back to the van. Lo and behold, about 40 yards down the beach, I see a crab, and I think, is that Scott? God damn it. Is that Scott? I go up to him and I look and I reach down for him. And this guy, if it was Scott, boy, he sure did have more life in him. He was like, turns around, looks at me, fuck you, fuck you. And his pinchers were like really super active, like almost, I put my shoe out and he grabbed my shoe and I pulled it back and he was still attached to my shoe. So if that was Scott, by gum, he had more energy, But I don't think it was Scott. He seemed a little tiny bit smaller, like just a just a smidge smaller, like maybe what, 3 or 4 millimeters smaller. I'm a visual guy, so I'm pretty good with this kind of stuff, believe it or not. I'm pretty good with measurements. So I think this might have been another guy. I'm thinking, God, what are the chances? What's the deal? I come on this beach all the time, and now all of a sudden I've never seen a live crab on Ocean Beach, and now all of a sudden I see like 4 or 5 in one day. It's kind of weird, So I'm thinking, well, just in case this is Scott, now he's got more energy, So everything I was thinking beforehand about him perhaps drowning, but now he's getting more, he's breathing water again. So I'm thinking, if this is Scott, probably not Scott, but if this is Scott, I should at least throw him back one more time. But the way his attitude, though, if it is Scott, then I'm starting to get the idea, okay, well, he's suicidal and he doesn't like me fucking with me. Because his new energy, it might be that he's going, look, dude, I'm trying to come up onto the beach because I'm meeting somebody here. And you keep throwing me back. And it's going to fuck it up because I said I was going to meet at 4:30. Okay, and now I'm 40 yards down. So he's kind of pissed. And I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know. The fuck do I know, man? I really don't know what crabs do. I don't know if they come. I don't know if Dungeness crabs, crawl up on the beach and watch the sunset or meet their friends up on the beach. I don't know if they're playing chicken with the seagulls. All I know is there are seagulls up there, there are crows up there, and they are definitely attacking crabs, right? So one last chance. I give Scott one last chance. I inflict him with my will. Right? Or her. Could be a girl crab. Could be a non-gender specific crab. I don't know. But I'm doing it my way. I'm going, fuck you. I'm already into this. I'm a lifeguard now, okay? This is me. I'm being a lifeguard now. That's my duty here. And I'm saving crabs today. So fuck you. I could be eating you. I should be eating you. But I'm throwing you back into the ocean. This time it was even harder to grab that little secret spot on his back because his pinchers were much more active. Again, probably not Scott, but just in case, we're going to talk about him like it is Scott. So I grab him one more time. And this time I really huck him out there. But I try to huck him in a way flat-handed so that he's not spinning around. I don't want those little legs to get ripped off or anything. So I give him a heave-ho, so he's like, whoa, without spinning. Because I'm thoughtful. He lands way in the deep ocean, in a big wave. So I'm thinking, he's definitely not going to be washed ashore. It's going to be hard for him to get on shore. If he's trying to commit suicide, or if he's trying to meet somebody, it's going to be hard, right? And by the way, these crabs didn't look like they were trying to get out of the ocean. They looked like they were trying to get back in the ocean. Right? All right. So there I am thinking, that's enough. I'm not going to monitor Scott anymore, even though I did. I stood around trying to monitor Scott for about the next 10 minutes in that spot, just going, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Is he washing into shore? Because he seemed to be active. He seemed to have the strength to be able to, once he was back in the water, crawl around to his little buddies. Get back in the marathon or whatever the fuck they're doing. Continue my journey, all right? 24 yards down the beach. Guess what? Another fucking goddamn big crab. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. I've never seen this many goddamn crabs. They're spaced out evenly. Now I know it's not Scott. This one was not Scott, okay? For sure. This is just another goddamn crab. There's no way he could have made it another 40 yards down the beach and up the beach that fast. So this is a different guy. And now I'm believing that all these guys are different guys. Hell, the first two guys that I thought were Scott probably weren't even. It was probably Scott and Becky and Susan, for crying out loud. So I find this other guy. He's also super active, but on his back, wiggling around. I can't believe most of the other people on the beach aren't paying attention. But on this particular one, now I see other people approaching the crab too. And I'm like, I got to get there first because I got to figure out if this is Scott. I knew it wasn't Scott, but I had to figure it out. So here comes a dog, to a big black dog. And so some girl is yelling, "Watch out!" Whatever her dog's name was. "Buttons, you're going to get your nose pinched." She comes up, "Is that a crab?" And I say, "Yeah, I don't know what the fucking deal is. I've seen about 4 crabs. I've been saving them. I've never seen a bunch of crabs like this." She goes, "Yeah, I don't get it." I go, "I don't know what crabs think." I'm kind of telling this woman this story. And I go, "I don't know. Maybe they just come up to the beach and watch the sunset." And she goes, "Yeah, maybe there's a crab wedding." I thought, okay, this is cool. This lady thinks like I do. Good for you, lady. I don't know what your name is, but nice thinking. Crab wedding. That's even better than what I was thinking. I was thinking crab gangs of surfers and shit. But I like this crab wedding thing. Because what if there was a crab wedding just offshore and these guys are just coming in for whatever reason? Anyway, this particular crab, he seems to be in really good health. So all these crabs are improving one at a time. This guy just runs off sideways, runs down into the water as the water's taking him away. Definitely alive, definitely got his shit together, so to speak. No worries about him, right? You know where this is going, right? You think I'm done with these crabs? No, I'm not done with these crabs. There's still 2 more crabs in this story, and I'm going to hurry this up. Okay? Even though I don't need to. Because if you don't want to listen to the story, you can turn it off. But anyway, so 1 more crab. Find 1 more crab. Live crab on his back, wiggling. This is like crab number 5 or 6 so far. And I'm looking and I'm gauging and I'm going, hey, I think this is about where that first crab, that Dum Dum, screwed up. Remember back at the very beginning of the story, Dum Dum screwed up a big catch from the Seagulls that hunted him and got him, and they lost him. Well, this crab was on his back, and he had a piece of his ectoskeleton that was kind of coming off from where kind of I saw these seagulls peeling him off. Like you could see his injury, and it was a seagull-looking injury. I thought, oh, this guy's a goner. I tipped him back up over onto his legs, and he kind of walked around, gave me that same kind of thing with his eyeballs, did the thing, seemed like he was alive. So guess what I do? Third goddamn time, or third different crab I threw back into the ocean. By this time, if anybody's watching, they're thinking I'm some weird hippie that's there to save all the crabs day. It's ridiculous. But just remember, if I had a goddamn bucket with me, and I knew that these guys were all, well, first of all, I still don't know what's going on because I've never seen this happen on the beach. Maybe they're all feeling sick. Maybe they're all diseased. But maybe not, because the last 3 seem to be in perfect health. If I had a bucket, trust me, I would be throwing these guys in a bucket, and I'd be eating crab right now instead of telling you this dumb story. But so this one, I think he was an injured one, but I threw him back anyway. And if he's a goner, he's a goner. Whatever, big fucking deal. You know what I mean? I got my story. We're almost back to the van. We're back to the beginning of where, we first met the beach, where I saw the Filipino lady. And I see 1 more pack of seagulls and crows fighting over another big, fresh, healthy crab. And we're getting closer to them, and Dum Dum chases them. And the seagull was able to lift the crab completely off into the air. This big crab that was almost as big as the seagull itself flies over far enough away that Dum Dum gave up. And then I watched these 4 seagulls and 3 crows having a big meal safely up the beach, just ripping this crab limb from limb, probably alive. Horrific scene, you know what I mean? Just, can you imagine you're on your back and these big animals are just ripping off, imagine you have 6 legs, and they're just ripping off one leg, nom, 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 ripping off the other one, nom, nom, nom. I mean, what a horrific Thanksgiving, The seagulls are the pilgrims. Or no, the seagulls are the natives, and then the crows are the pilgrims. Drama at the beach. I was a lifeguard so many times. I saved some crabs' lives. when I could have been cooking them. I probably didn't save any of them. They're idiot crabs, let's be honest. If I did save them, I probably didn't do the crab species any favors, because those are the dipshits. Those ones that landed themselves, if they weren't sick, if they were just adventurous, then they were probably the ones that should have died, because they were dumb. They got too close. I doubt they were counting on me being there. Anyway, they all got second chances. If they were suicidal, they're going to have to get back to their job tomorrow morning. None of the other crabs, they probably won't. One of them will tell the other crabs, the other one won't, you know. You wouldn't believe, man. So this dude, I was on the beach, oh God, these seagulls, these crows, this fucking guy with a beard, plus he had a dog, plus, oh my God, I can't believe I'm even alive. Yeah. You always tell stories like this, Scott. We're tired of them. Whatever. So that's my story. Drama at the beach. Thanks for listening.